Hello everyone, how's it going? This is the Irish Patriot here on May the 5th, 2016, and in front of me I have the Agenda 21 United Nations document from 1992 for Ireland, and I think it's time just to go through this document. It's a long document, but I'm going to take it step by step and trying to inform the public here what's going on, how this Agenda 21 Sustainable Development is being implemented at local level, and trying to explain what Agenda 21, which is a radical environmental ideology that man is destroying Earth and we need to consume and stop wasting resources, and they're going to try and get us out of our cars to stop using petroleum, put us into towns and cities, box us into little apartments, so that we will be using public transport and bicycles, and they're trying to completely change the way we live into a socialist utopia. And this first part here is going to be introducing Agenda 21. So I'm going to go through this United Nations document. There's a link below if you want to get this document and go through it. I advise everyone to do it. So I'm just going to go straight ahead here and go straight into this document. It reads economic aspects of sustainable development in Ireland. You're going to see this word sustainable development a lot. Heading changing consumption patterns, decision making, coordinating bodies. There is no single department charged with responsibility for sustainable production and consumption. However, the Department of the Environment and the local government has an overall coordinating role in relation to the implementation of the National Sustainable Development Strategy. So they just say there now that there's a coordinating role in relation of the implementation of National Sustainable Development Strategy, and is titled Sustainable Development, a Strategy for Ireland. Otherwise, all departments have responsibility for relevant aspects of sustainable production and consumption. Example, the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment is responsible for industrial production and also for consumer issues. The Department of Public Enterprise is responsible for issues of sustainable consumption in the transport and energy sectors. Now, when you see this word sustainable, they're saying that nothing is sustainable and we must cut back and ration everything. That's what they're saying there. When you see sustainable, so here they say the Department of Public Enterprise is responsible for issues of sustainable consumption. So whatever we consume, we have to sustain it. We have to stop using energy, water, food, everything, and sustainable energy. Continuing, no specific bodies are charged with these issues at local or regional levels. However, insofar as their responsibilities include issues of sustainable development, example, local Agenda 21 development of local and regional indicators of sustainable development. But the local authorities and the regional authorities might be considered the relevant administrative authorities in this regard. Local Agenda 21 in particular would include issues such as efficient use of resources and consumer involvement awarenesses, which are relevant to sustainable production and consumption. Primary responsibility for local Agenda 21 is at the city/county authority level, 34 authorities, with the 8 regional authorities having a coordinating role. So this is a top-down communist plan here. This is central planning. This is communism. There is no specific policy or program on sustainable production and consumption. Overall, national policy on sustainable development was published in 1997 as Sustainable Development, a Strategy for Ireland. Specific references to sustainable production and consumption are made in particular in the chapters of industry and public action and awareness, while relevant aspects are also included in other chapters, most notably those dealing with transport and energy. So they want us to be sustainable in transport, which means getting us out of our cars. That's why you see these carbon taxes. They're trying to make it so expensive, and they're blaming cars for climate change, and they want to get you off your cars. I'm telling you. Sounds crazy, but it's true. The Irish Energy Centre, established under a national energy conservation programme in place since 1994, carries out programmes with industry on energy efficiency, energy rationing. The Cleaner Production Promotion Centre and the Clean Technology Centre also work with industry in relation to its production processes and the technologies used. Since 1990, Dublin has had a permanent ban on marketing, sale and distribution of bituminous coal. In 1995, the practice was adopted in Cork. In connection with these bans, a special weekly allowance in 1995, 3 weekly, paid by the Department of Social Welfare to lower income groups have helped overcome the increased cost of environmentally friendly fuels in comparison to bituminous coal. These schemes cost Ireland 6 million and 1.6 million for Dublin and Cork, respectively. The Transport Operational Programme 1994 to 1999 reflects the development of previous policy, which was largely concerned with national roads. The programme has put an increased emphasis on rail transport, urban public transport and local road networks. The Dublin Transportation Initiative (DTI) includes proposals for the increased use of public transportation. See here, look, exactly what I've been saying. The Dublin Transportation Initiative includes proposals for the increased use of public transportation. They want to get us on buses, on bikes and walking everywhere. Effective action on traffic management and enforcement. Enforcement is acknowledged as essential, including parking restraint. They want to make it difficult for people driving their cars, particularly in Dublin City. If the DTI strategy is to be successfully implemented and its objective of shifting commuters from the private car to public transport is to be achieved. Here we go. They're right there. They're saying it. Read that again. Particularly in Dublin City, if the DTI strategy is to be successfully implemented and its objective of shifting commuters from the private car to public transport is to be achieved. At the same time, it is recognised that there is a need to provide for certain business, shopping, leisure and tourist trips by private car as part of the policy of supporting the continued viability of the city centre. Almost $600 million will be invested in public transport and enforcement measures over the period from 1994 to 1999. There you go. A national strategy on recycling. Recycling for Ireland was adopted in 1994. It established targets for the waste recovery and recycling up to 1999. A national policy statement, Waste Management Changing Our Ways, September 1998, has a major general objective to stabilise and in the longer term reverse the growth in waste generation. Specific targets over a 15-year timescale include recycling of 35% of municipal waste and recycling at least 50% of construction demolition waste within a 5-year period, with a progressive increase to at least 85% over 15 years. In April 1996, following a major review of renewable energy policies and programs, the Department of Transport, Energy and Communications, now the Department of Public Enterprise, launched Renewable Energy, a strategy for the future, which sets out the long-term development of renewable energy in Ireland and has the overall objective of increasing the proportion of electricity produced from renewable energy sources. The strategy identifies a current practice resource of up to 800 megawatts of renewable energy sources and sets out measures to exploit this resource. Subject to the strategy target being met, the renewable energy electricity generation capacity will be 10% of of total installed capacity by the end of 1999 and approximately 14% of total installed capacity by the year 2010. Since 1995, the department has operated a series of alternative energy requirement schemes to secure electricity generation capacity from alternative energy systems. The results of the third AER were introduced during 1998. 30 contracts have been awarded for a total of 159 megawatts of renewable generated energy in the following categories: 9 large wind farms, 8 small wind farms, 10 small hydro schemes, 2 waste to energy projects, 1 landfill gas project. These projects, which are to come on stream by the year 2000, will generate over 675 million units of electricity, sufficient for 300,000 people. Issues of green procurement are included in Policy for Green Housekeeping, as set out in the Green Government Guide, which was circulated to all government departments in August 1996 and subsequently to local authorities and semi-state bodies. So here we go. This top-down agenda is just here in our faces. The United Nations has given these Agenda 21 documents to the national government, and they're giving it down to local government to implement it at local level. The guide sets out how the public sector can demonstrate better environment management practice and adopting the principle of green housekeeping. Benefits for the environment can be realized through reductions in the consumption of natural resources, emissions, discharge and waste generated. The adoption of green housekeeping principles, as well as producing administrative savings, can also enhance the quality of service. The move to independently certified environmental management systems, such as ISO 14001, which is now being pursued by a number of government departments and local authorities, is seen as a logical extension of the process initiated with the Green Government Guide. The guide recommended that organizations should prepare an environmental management plan with targets and performance indicators to constantly improving environmental efficiency. Nominated officers should be assigned in each organization to coordinate the preparation of a green housekeeping program, and each nominated officer would be supported by green teams to develop ideas and strategies for effective green housekeeping. Areas where significant environmental gains can be achieved and which have already been identified in the Department of the Environment and Local Government greenhouse plans include: energy use integration of measures being implemented under the Programme for Energy Conservation in the state buildings. The key objective of the programme is to reduce energy consumption by at least 10% over a 5-year period through improvements in efficiency and conservation. Paper use of recycled paper and stationery, minimization of waste and document design, double-sided photocopying, blah blah blah. Recycling, separation and collection management, office equipment purchasing, water use, minimization of waste and installation of equipment to optimize water use. Here we go, talking about installing water meters, water use, minimization of waste and installation of equipment to optimize water use, cleaning, limit use of solvents, etc. Transport, encourage greater use of public transport and carpooling. Okay. Decision making, legislation and regulations. While there is no overall legislation on sustainable consumption and production, the principle of extended producer responsibility is incorporated in the Waste Management Act 1996. Specific regulations made under this act refer to relevant issues such as recovery, recycling of packaging, in addition to integrated pollution control licensing system, operated under the Environmental Protection Agency Act 1992 required scheduled industries to take on board many relevant principles, including cleaner technology and cleaner production to reduce and minimize waste production as an important fact or important facet of the environment management systems required under the terms of IPC licenses. The REPAC scheme, launched in 1996 by the Industry Task Force on Recycling, represents an important producer responsibility initiative in respect of packaging waste. REPAC operates a packaging waste recovery scheme which is open to membership by all suppliers of packaging. In 1997, a similar scheme connected in relation to collection and recovery of waste farm plastics. This is operated by the British Farm Films Producers Group. Jeez, that's a mouthful and a half. A body established by the plastics industry in cooperation with the Irish Farmers Association. Talk about big government. The amount of agencies that are in the government now is ridiculous. Government has gotten so big. These codes of practice were initially established by industry as voluntary initiatives. However, a key purpose of regulations made under the Waste Management Act 1996 is to provide a framework for industry-led voluntary recycle initiatives to operate without competitive disadvantage to their members. Both the REPAC and IFFPG schemes referred to in question 9 have been approved for the purposes of these regulations, which place substantial recycling obligations on industry. The European Union's Eco-Label scheme operates in Ireland as an information aid for consumers, setting criteria for categories of products which establish their environmental credentials. Products covered include washing machines, dishwashers, soil improvers, laundry detergents, paper rolls, blah blah blah. The Department of the Environment and Local Government participates along with other government departments and agencies in an environment tax group, which is chaired by the Department of Finance, in line with government policy as stated in Sustainable Development, a strategy for Ireland. This group's objective is to develop a medium to long-term policy on environmental taxation and to seek to structure a progressive shift and taxation from labour to polluters. Listen to this here. This involves two approaches: removing anomalies or distortions in the current system of taxation and subsidies, including those which hinder labour-intensive environment activities, to ensure that the structure of existing arrangements does not have significant adverse effects on the environment, and developing new measures to secure more environment-friendly behaviour across economic sectors. Measures incorporated in recent budgets include tax relief for investment in wind and other renewable energy projects. There you go. So what they're telling us what they're going to do here. So this carbon tax, what this is all about, is taxing people for using fuel or using their car, and then they're giving this tax to renewable energy, to wind farms and solar panel companies and renewable energy companies. This isn't capitalism. This is fascism. This is the government picking and choosing who the winners and losers are. These renewable energy companies are getting handouts from the government from carbon tax. They're taxing the people who are using fossil fuels and who breathe air, and giving it to these renewable energy companies and saying that these renewable energy works. Of course, it's going to work if the government keeps giving you handouts and you've nothing. You don't invest any of your own money in it. Measures incorporated in recent budgets include tax relief for investment in wind and other renewable energy projects, with the aim of reducing emissions and promoting environmental friendly energy sources. Improved capital allowances for farm pollution control, and more favourable treatment from an excise duty point of view by unleaded petrol compared to leaded and super unleaded petrol. Alright, so I'm going to leave it there. listen, the introduction there to the changing consumption patterns in Agenda 21 document. I'm going to keep going through this document here, and just for you to understand, this is not a conspiracy. This is what's been implemented right now. Sustainable development. So if you like my videos, subscribe and check out some of my other videos I do. Thanks for listening. See you all later.